Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Armada Village Council. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here's more agendas, if anybody needs them.
You want to take roll, Michelle?
Sure. Was 7 o'clock?
Yes.
Shaw is absent. Clark?
Yep.
Conan?
Yep.
Adair? Here. Belkey?
Here.
Barzik? Here. Stirrett?
Here.
You've had a chance to look at the agenda. Could I have a motion, please?
I'll move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor of the motion? Aye. Motion's approved. Okay, for citizen comments, if you're here to talk about the chickens, if you would reserve your comments for when we get to it. It is part of our agenda. If you would reserve your comments then you'll be able to speak. But if any of the citizens would like to speak on something else now, they're certainly welcome. Yes.
I wanted to, I just wanted,
When you, if you would identify yourself,
okay,
and if people sign in, please.
I did sign in, okay, Gayleen Barker. I just want to comment and let you know, I appreciate reading that the roads are gonna be done. And that's one thing I was really excited about when I read it in the paper, and I just want to say thank you for working on it and whatever.
Well, thank you.
Jamie Barzik. From what I know, or we read in the paper, all of us, as you can see, these are all residents of Armada, that 7 streets were going to be done. Everybody approved it, it was approved, and now I'm told that you're trying to cut it down to 4 streets only. Why is that? And why can't, if you don't have enough money, you have a ton of money in your general fund to help support it? Why can you not take some money from that and put it towards fixing the roads that all these residents need work on? The roads, their streets.
We can't really discuss it.
Okay.
You get to make the comment, but I will say this is all under discussion. Nothing had been approved. And feel free to contact our street administrator, and she'll be glad to.
She tells me, and then in 2 days or 3 days, people are calling her and telling her, "Hey, we got to cut it because what we approved now we're not going to do it."
Thank you. Are there any other citizen comments?
Hi, my name's Lori Parise, and I'm here along with everybody else, pretty much for the same reason. And I know you said you can't comment, but I would like to comment on the article that was in the Village Record, and it does list these streets, and it does list the amount, and so I'm not sure where in this article, from this article being published to now, that we're getting new information that these streets, which listed Torrey and Morrison and Krull and all that, were going to be done at a cost of $290,000, and now, as Jamie said, they want to cut off, they want to drop Torrey, Krull, and Morrison, and I have the same comment that Jamie does. If there's that kind of money in the general fund, we would really appreciate it if our streets would be done. I've been here at past council meetings and have talked about how on Torrey Street, you cannot pass each other on Torrey Street. You have got to pull over to let that car go by so that you can get into the middle and go by. Otherwise, you are riding down, sideways of potholes and whatnot. It's like, I've been on better dirt roads, and y'all know it, and we know it too. So we're all just here to verify that this article is correct and that our streets will be done in 2025. Thank you.
We can't comment on the article at all because we did not write that article.
Okay.
She's
But-
right in front of you.
Again, just like I said before. So thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to comment?
Kathy Markle, one of the Torrey Street gang. We were here a couple of years ago and we've been looking forward to 2025. That was supposed to be our golden year. I've lived in my house since '85 and I was the last one to build on Torrey Street. And since then, all of phase 2 and all of phase 3 of Fritz went down Torrey Street, down, every truck, every whatever went down Torrey Street. And now we're living with the results of it. And it really needs to be repaired before somebody gets hurt. I also mentioned in my letter when I wrote it a couple years ago, I came home from surgery. My sister drove as slowly as she could down the street, but it was painful to be in the car because of all the shaking. So we need those streets done, and we need them done. We did them done 10 years ago, but we really need them done in 2025. And thank you for
Yep, thank you,
considering it.
Kathy. Anybody else?
Yes, my name is Dave Jones. I've been here since '79. And Torrey Street, except for the corner of Franklin and Carl Street, well, going back far enough, it used to be dirt, now it's potholes. And from Carl west, it is very, very dangerous. Is there anything to be done by it?
Again, we can't discuss this. Reason we can't discuss it, is we post our agendas. So even though a lot of people don't pay attention to it, we post our agendas so citizens will know what's gonna be discussed at the meeting. That way, they know if they would like to come up or not, to come to the meeting. But, so this is not an agenda item, but believe me, we're working on this, and I thank you for your comments, Dave. Would anybody else like to comment?
Have a good evening.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Yes, Kevin. Did you get your mail?
What about my mail?
Well, it was on Facebook that somebody had one of your letters. And Sweeney told them to bring it to their shop and they would give it to you. But that's another
Okay,
subject.
I'm not a
I
creature
saw-
of
I
social
saw that
media,
too.
so
But
it's an
anyhow,
online bug house.
that
That's my
doesn't,
opinion.
that doesn't go against your time, but go ahead.
I appreciate it. This has to do with item 3C on the agenda regarding the welcoming signs to the village.
That if it's on the agenda, we'll talk about it at that time. That's why I said at the beginning.
I'd be more than happy to talk about it when it comes up for discussion.
Yes, you may.
All right, fair enough.
Um,
Thank you.
Are there any other citizen comments on non-agenda items? Yes, sir.
So we can talk about non-agenda items before the agenda, but we can't talk about agenda items.
Well, we'll talk about that when we get to it.
Is there a non-agenda time when we can talk about non-agenda items, like during the citizens' comment section? Or we're pulling that
Yeah,
ahead?
and we have citizen comment. Go ahead, sir.
So my wife bought her house in 2002, so it's indisputable that the roads are a disaster. Is there gonna be a time when we're gonna talk about the actual plan to fix the roads? What is the capital, plan? How much money is set aside every year to fix how many roads every year? How are we gonna address the situation? I was here a year ago, we talked about the exact same thing. Many of these people were here at that same meeting.
Yeah.
One little 2-block section got fixed in that whole year. At that rate, it'll be 2060 before the roads are even fixed once, and by then they'll all need to be fixed again. I mean, you guys gotta have some sort of rollout plan that says, I'm gonna divide the roads in the community up by 10. We're gonna fix 1/10 of the roads every year. We're gonna collect enough taxes to do that every year. And over a 10-year period, all the roads are gonna be replaced. And then we're gonna start where we started, just like painting the Golden Gate Bridge. It takes 3 years to do.
every 3 years we finish it and we start again and the budget accordingly. There doesn't seem to be any sort of grasp that that's the necessary course of action that you need to take, nor is anything rolled out to the citizens about how you're gonna do that. I mean, we're all just in the dark. You gotta present something, you gotta stick to it, you gotta tax accordingly, you gotta let us know what's going on. Otherwise, you're gonna get this. And when are we gonna actually have that conversation?
Thank you for your comment.
I'm sorry, what is your name?
Bob Richter.
Yeah,
Dave, I'd like to make one short comment. There's only so much money in the budget, unless Ross wants to give us some of the water money for other projects. But, anyway, one concern that we haven't looked at is there's only a few streets in town that have no sidewalks. I'm on Floral, we're one of the ones that don't have, every street should have at least a sidewalk on one side of the road for a safety issue. Kids going to school and stuff. There's maybe 2 or 3 streets in town that don't have it. It's something that maybe Amy should look at when they're doing the roads. You know, last year when they did Lathrop, was it Lathrop? Yeah. That also was one of the streets that doesn't have sidewalks on part of it. I wish that, maybe there's just not enough money, and so anyway, that's my comment.
well, thank you, Dave. Are there any other citizen comments? Okay. Moving on to, there's no presentations, moving on to administrative reports. Who would like to go first here? Ross, how about you?
Oh, that was quick. All right, I've got a bit of a list here. I'll be sitting down with Michael on Thursday at the wastewater treatment plant to talk with F&V about their yearly contract performance. Just if anybody's got any comments about that, Mike is aware of it. He's starting at 7, so I'll be there at 8 o'clock. We'll give you an outtake once it's done. Mike, you may not be aware, Cummings is scheduled their generator maintenance for February, Tuesday, and one of the generators they maintain is the one over at the wastewater treatment plant.
Because we've been trying to get them to come out.
It's a semi, you may not be aware,
Okay.
but it's a semi-annual maintenance inspection of all of our generators, so they will do our 3 at the water facilities and they'll do the 1 at the wastewater treatment plant. They'll be back out in late summer to do the heavy maintenance on it. We had talked a couple months ago about the Michigan Water Asset Management Council. They speak through Eagle to get my attention with respect to water issues. I've got a survey that I have to complete. I just want to let council know that I've just got a couple more pieces of information and I'll be sending that in. It needs to be in by Thursday, so we're in a good position for that. We had received our contingent well study and our water reliability studies. I've made comments to the contingent well study, and so I would expect the final report to be back to us by 10 February for council's consideration. Same with the water reliability study. I'm going to get comments back to Roe probably by tomorrow night, and we'll also have that final report by 10 February for council's consideration. Roe and I have been working on lead and galvanized service line locator maps. This is based upon the work we did last summer to hydrovac lines and identify the composition of the lines. So I'm going to meet with Paul next week. I'm going to go out to Lapeer and sit down with him. And if I can, I'm going to snag Dave Wagner, DPW superintendent, because we now need to strategize about replacement, and come up with a plan about how many per year and so on. We did move we discussed USG's water tower interior painting. We had indicated June, but I'm moving that to May because water usage tends to increase towards the middle to late summer. And so May is a better time to do that. So far, we're on track and permitting is moving forward. We did have an issue with the furnace at well number 8 during our cold snap. It's not good when the furnace goes out in the well houses. In any case, we called the contractor that installed them and they fixed the thermostat under warranty, so we're good there. I did ask for a quote while they were out on replacing the furnaces at the water treatment plant of all of the furnaces in the well houses and the water treatment plant. Those are the oldest, and again, it's not good when those go out during a cold snap. So, not going to say I'm going to do anything at this point in the budget, but I'm getting some pricing in case we decide that they need to be replaced. And I think that's all I got.
Okay. Mike, go ahead.
We have the F&B report, nothing to report much in there. I did get a call from Dan today, the sub pump failed in the new addition area, so they had some water in the ground. So Steve had talked to Dan as well, and they're gonna see if it's, if the pump will be warranted. And we gotta look at making sure that there's a backup system in there. Chain broke in the grid room, they're gonna replace that. I did get a response from the state. Remember, Dennis retired and it's been a couple months. So they have about 5 questions they wanted me to answer. So I'm gonna speak with Dan and see what he has to say about that response, because it's not gonna be as easy as I hoped. And then there's a meeting Thursday that Ross mentioned. So we'll go over those things.
Okay. Joe?
This is the police action report for December 2024. Traffic tickets issued were 82, warrants, arrests, and obtained breaking and entering, 1, attempted breaking and entering, 1. The above charges are all on 1 juvenile who was charged in November. Driving while restricted or suspended or revoked license, 1. Assist Armada Township Fire Department inside the village, 6. Domestic assault, 0. Assist other police agencies, 3. Suspicious situation, 1. A civil dispute, 1. No dog complaints, no disturbances, no alarm on open doors, no domestic disturbances, no lockouts. Death investigation, we had 1. A juvenile related situation, we had 1. Damaged property, 0. Mental distress situation, we had 1. Arrest warrant, 1. Miscellaneous calls for service, there were 8. Missing persons, 0. Lost and found property, 1. Theft, 1. Retail fraud or internet fraud, 0. Motor vehicle accidents, 0. As of October 1st, 2024, the miles on patrol car 431 equal 109,530 miles. Vehicle 432, the F-150 equal 45,711 miles. And the unmarked Dodge number 433 has 64,754 miles.
Cover you, Joe?
Yep.
Thank you. Amy?
Yes, I just wanna update everybody, a little bit what's going on, but 2 weeks ago at the meeting, the council approved a $20,000 amendment to the street budget to get the design and bidding process started to resurface 7 streets in Armada. The cost of the project is $290,000 plus a possible $20,000 for manhole repairs. The next day I contacted Paul from Rowe and I got the process started. On Monday, January 20th, I had my budget meeting with Ann and I felt like it went really well. But the next day Ann contacted me and said that we didn't have enough money in our budgets to do 7 streets and she wanted to bump it down to 4. It caught me a little bit off guard because we've been working on this for a while now and I really had no idea that there wouldn't be enough money in the budgets to handle that. So I I am asking the council to pay the extra money for the street resurface project out of the general fund. This money needs to be used to benefit all the residents of Armada, and I think they're somewhat receptive to this, so I hope it's gonna go forward. Then after that, you know, if we have to take a little loan from the general fund, then I'm hoping in a couple of years, we can build up enough money in there to do 7 more streets, you know, so we have to work a little bit to get a little bit more money in there. But I am hoping to still do the 7 streets, as long as everyone votes yes for that. Paul from Rowe, that's our engineer, he said our resurfacing project of 7 streets is already a small project, and to bump it down to 4, that the company might not even wanna come out and do it, cause it's too small of a project. And we don't wanna lose this, wonderful opportunity to do so many streets at such an affordable price. So I am asking the council to approve using the general fund money, and I think they're receptive to that, but time will tell, so. Cause we definitely want Torrey, Kroll, and Morrison added, and we wanna do all 7 streets that we talked about, so, thank you.
Okay,
Which was disgusting.
pardon? Okay, thank you, Amy. Think that covers us, right? Steve, you got anything? Okay, Ann, you got anything?
No.
Okay, moving on to general business. You've had a chance to look at the consent agenda, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's approved. Okay, under old business, we're gonna discuss a possibility of having chickens in the community. A citizen had brought that to us, so right now it's just an open discussion. We don't have an ordinance or anything prepared, and if we did, there would still be a public hearing, but this is just a general discussion from the council. Who would like to start this off?
No one else will, I will. I live in the village, because you don't have wild animals, and chickens, and everything else. I mean, that's what the township's there for. I lived in the township, chickens were everywhere, dogs, roosters, cows, horses, everything. And that's the fitting place for it. That doesn't fit in the village. So for one thing, even in the older areas of the town, lots are too small. You're never gonna restrain those chickens to one lot. Unless you put leashes on their legs or something, which I don't think
Which would be
is
animal cruelty.
humane.
so
Yeah, but
don't
I
do
don't
that,
think it's
yeah.
humane. But I just don't think the village is a place for it. It's, you want chickens and stuff, but you can live in the township.
Are there any other,
Well,
would you like to make a comment?
Well, since I prepared all this, yes.
Yeah.
So, President Conant had asked me to, check other communities, check around to see what other communities do. You guys have all the ordinances from the communities that we found online. I'm sure there's several more, but, your packet was 99 pages at the last meeting, so this, most of the communities that I have do not allow them, but the ones that do, which I think Ann Arbor and Ferndale were the only 2 that I found that specifically addressed it, they have very strict restrictions on it. You have to have an acre lot, you have to have a pen, and you have to have that secured, so they can't get, as Mr. Clark pointed out at the last meeting, chickens can jump a 4-foot fence, they could probably jump a 6-foot fence, is what he said. I don't know, I've never owned chickens, so I don't know. The other thing that a lot of the other communities do is you have to have inspections, okay? So if you were to allow them, I think you would have to set up some kind of inspection process on it to make sure that everything is still being, followed. I'm sure that most of our residents would do the right thing by them. I'm sure there's some that wouldn't, you know,
How
but
often would you have to have them inspected?
that would be up to council, you
So
know,
there'd have
but
to be
you
a
have to
fee
remember
involved.
too, you know, we just can't go on private property. You know, it's like, so that would have to be part of the ordinance, that you have to allow the inspector on to make sure that things are being done. As Mr. Clore pointed out at the last meeting, you do have a letter from him in here. They do attract other animals, you know, coyotes, for one. Well, there has, yeah. But again, I am sure that most people would have it enclosed. You know, I don't know what a coyote can get over, but, you know, if, you know, say a chicken gets out and you've got a dog, what's a dog gonna do? The dog's gonna attack the chicken because that's what dogs do. And it's not wrong because that's animals. You know, there's smell involved, you know? I mean, these are my personal opinions from what my research did and after talking to Mr. Clore so in-depthly. But, you know, I myself, I don't think, I don't vote, but I don't know that it's a great idea. I think, like I said, I think most people do right, but I think there's gonna be people that don't as
And
well.
the people that want them for eggs are gonna get roosters, so.
No.
Again, it's
No,
like-
you
don't need a rooster
You don't need
for
a
eggs. You don't want a rooster because then it's a fertilized egg, so you don't want a
If I
rooster.
could tell just a quick story.
Yeah.
Okay.
A number of years ago, we had chickens. Thought I was entitled to under the Right to Farm Act. We had them for about 3 or 4 years. The neighbors knew we had them, they were fine. The coop and the pen were enclosed, I had a fencing over top of it, not so much for the chickens to get out, so that I wouldn't have critters getting in. And things were fine until finally somebody found out. I received a ticket, went to court, and decided not to fight it and got rid of the chickens. I had no trouble with any other animals. It was a source of eggs. You do not need to have a rooster to have the
No,
eggs.
you don't want a rooster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No.
anything, yeah, you don't want a rooster.
Yeah, no.
And with the way the egg situation is going now, it's kind of scary. You don't know what you're getting. But that was my story, and I'm just one person, and I was
And
hoping
again,
that.
you did everything right, you know,
Well,
you did.
there are people
Right.
that should not have 3 large dogs that
Sure.
don't clean up after them.
Sure.
I mean, you're gonna, and I don't think everybody and his brother is gonna run out and get chickens. It's a lot of work. Like any animal, you have to take care of it, and you have to have the little building for it, fence it in. My coop was probably 15 feet away from the side neighbor and 15 feet away from the back neighbor. And some of the ordinances I've read here, they did set limits
Yep.
on that. So that's not right up against your fence and you're sitting there in your picnic table and such. But that's my story, and I was hoping there would be people that would come, group that would be for this. I don't want to make this a situation that, for me, just because I'm on council. So that's my story on it.
Are there any other council comments on the chickens? Citizens,
You got a comment?
you can speak on this if you'd like.
I spoke at the last council meeting, so I don't wanna go on too much on it, but I'd like to reiterate a couple of things. Michelle covered most of the things I had commented on, and so did Steve. When I was young, I lived in a small village up north. I mean, we were on the outskirts, and we had chickens. Well, we had 100 chickens, and we had 12 ducks, and chickens are odorous. People don't think so, but the chicken excrement is mixed with their urine, and that's why when birds fly over, you get splatters on your window. And it is odorous, more so than other animals, but it lasts a shorter period of time. Also, people that have other pets, they usually feed them indoors. Chickens you feed outdoors, and that attracts rats. And I know this from having raised them. And should we decide to allow chickens, we're going to have have an ordinance designated minimum lot size, maximum flock size, minimum lot setbacks for the coop, And, let me see here. Oh. Bird flu. Bird flu has been discovered in Oakland County. And so we're gonna have to mandate testing at the owner's expenses, probably yearly, or at least periodically. So I think all those things will have to go into an ordinance if you decide to allow it. Personally, I'm against it. I'm done.
Is there anyone else would like to speak?
In one way or another?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, stand up, identify yourself.
It's Haley.
Yeah, I am against having the chickens in the village, and, because that goes along with other farm animals, and where will it go from there? And in the future, somebody moves in and does the wrong thing. I mean, I think it's not a good idea at all.
Thank you. Would, anybody else like to speak?
Lori Priest again. I agree with Joe. I do too feel that the village is, not a place for farm animals and things like that, and that's why we have a township, and it's great, and we can take our kids out to Blake's and farms and whatever, but it's just, I just don't think the village is really a great place to accommodate something like that, so.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak? Okay,
I'll add on, Dave. If we allow chickens, then do we allow other poultry, ducks, turkeys? So, where's the into it? And I'd like to say, we should keep farm animals on the farm, not in the village.
anybody else like to speak? Council? I guess I'll move on. Okay, under new business, budget amendments. So, Ann?
Alright, so this budget amendment. So this amendment is to accommodate the $20,000 for the engineering to start the bid process on the project. I took money from uni and transferred it to local and added that to the local budget and then subtracted the $20,000 for road. So that shows you what each of your expected fund balance will be at the end of the year. And this was originally because we did not have this $20,000 in the original budget.
So, somebody wanna make a motion here?
No?
I'll move to approve the budget amendment for the municipal street fund, increase transfer to local street fund in the amount of $20,000 as presented, which brings the total estimated fund balance for the municipal street fund from $121,416.74 to $101,416.74.
Support.
And they'll be all in favor of the we gotta have a roll call for that, we're not spending it.
No, we always do.
Okay,
Clark,
Yes.
Pelkey,
Yes.
Conan,
yes.
Adair,
Yes.
Barzak,
Yeah.
Strick.
Yes.
Okay. Now we have to have a motion on the local street fund.
I would follow up and make a motion to approve the budget amendments for the local street fund, increase transfer from municipal street fund in the amount of $20,000 as presented, and increase professional services engineering in the amount of $20,000 which doesn't change the total estimated fund balance of the local street fund.
Support.
Wanna read the roll?
Yep, Belkey,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Barzick. Yes. Stewart. Yes. Conan,
Yes.
Adair.
Okay. That's it for budget amendments. Okay. We need to approve the DDA budget.
I would make a motion to approve the DDA budget as submitted with the same restrictions that it's had for the last several.
Can you read my motion, Joe? To approve the proposed fiscal year 25-26 budget for the Downtown Development Authority Fund.
I would resolve to approve the proposed fiscal year 2025-2026 budget for the Downtown Development Authority Fund. So it's going to add the same, it's following the same restrictions of expenditure as we have in the past.
Following, what'd you say, restriction,
Yeah.
expenditure restrictions?
Yeah.
She's writing this down, do I have a second to that amendment?
I will make a second to that.
Second by Clark.
Wait a minute, so, following same expenditure restrictions as in the past?
Yes.
That was Clark. Okay, Adair,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Belkey,
Yes.
Barzick. Yes.
Okay.
Quick question on that if I can, payoff is 2027?
2027 that was?
27.
Good question, Russ. So, item C, welcome to our maiden signage. Clerk, this is yours?
Well, I put it on because at the last, I don't know if it was the meeting or the budget meeting. So, right now, the current, we've had this discussion, the current signs are where they are, we have where we're gonna keep them. The questions arose though, if we want to replace them or not, and this is mostly spearheaded by Ross. And, you know, we've had the signs for, I don't know, Joe, 30 years?
At least.
At least. They are wood. I have not personally gone out and looked at them, and I wouldn't know what to look at anyways.
I did look at them.
Okay.
And they are not wood. It's like some kind of a foam core,
Oh,
and then it has like,
So they're okay.
like a skin on them.
okay, so they're not
And
rotting.
I've got up and close to 2 of them, and they're bad. They're coming apart,
Okay,
and the plywood backers on them are all delaminating.
okay.
So we should replace them, probably.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I was here about a year ago talking about this,
Mhm.
and I was told that nothing could be done because they weren't on village property.
We have resolved that.
So it's all on, okay.
We have agreements with the property owners.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
we
the
have-
Legal
welcome.
agreements made
yeah.
up.
All
So,
the welcome signs
are not on village property.
are not in the village, they're just outside the village, so anything we do there, we always have to get permission from the property owner.
Yeah. And that was honestly, that part of what prompted all this. And
Right.
so in the discussion, you know, Russ, we had actually budgeted last year's budget $10,000 for signs. And, but then the question arose, did we want to replace them? Did we want to revamp what we have? But if they're in poor condition, I think replacing them.
Do we
I
have
don't
that
think
in
they
this
can be
year's?
replaced. They're bad. I actually, my late husband and the late Kathy Delecky,
Yes,
the ones that did these
yes.
30-some years ago.
It's-
We
yeah, it's
started
been-
all.
It's been way over, it's been over.
It's a long-
It's been a while
It was,
then.
yeah, and we're going to replace them with new signage is what, I guess, just to explain to everybody. And if council so makes that motion, so.
Okay, I think,
Can the public
Joe's
speak
gonna
on
make
this
a
one?
motion
Pardon me?
there.
Can the public speak now?
Sure.
Oh, yes,
Oh, I'm
go
sorry,
ahead, Kevin, I'm sorry.
Wait,
So-
okay. Stop that.
Oh, trust me, you would have heard me. When I was reading the proposal, one of the things that they were talking about was imagery on the signs. And one of the things that I noticed in the village is the village does not have a seal. And to the best of my knowledge, never did have a seal.
Well, we have a seal for the village, it's
Well, I mean,
just
not like a logo.
not a logo.
But that's my point.
Yeah.
My point was, since you're looking at signage, why don't you kill two birds with one stone? See about creating a logo for the village, so you can put it on the signs. Create a logo for the village, you can put it on the village buildings. You can put it on the village vehicles. Something to differentiate Armada Village for the future. And that will be my 2 cents.
Thank you.
It's not
Good
as
idea.
easy as you think.
Creating a
A
logo.
lot of copyrights involved in that.
And we
Search.
reached out to,
We did that a long
Several
time ago, well, we did to the
organizations.
school, to
We
see
did
if
the
if
school.
the kids, you know, have
the
like a
art class
contest.
to do that,
Yeah,
and got no response,
Yeah.
no interest.
I'm not surprised.
yeah.
No. But
You wanna make that motion?
I will make a motion. I would resolve to allow trustee Belkey to pursue the sign replacement and to bring the plans and costs back to the council for approval.
I would support that, but I would ask that we put the dollar amount in so that I don't have to keep guessing.
For up to $10,000.
Up to $10,000, yeah, I don't wanna keep doing work. and-
Okay, Joe, will you add that to your
Approval
motion?
of Up to,
How about we just say, just at the end, council approval in the amount up to $10,000, in the amount not to exceed 10,000. Okay,
Okay,
and I support the change.
supported by Bill.
we need a roll.
Okay,
We need
yes,
more.
I know we do.
Could I ask a point of order? If that's okay. So Bob Richter, so we had, audience discussion on item C of the agenda. But we didn't have any audience discussion on item A, which was the roads. And yet, at the beginning of the meeting, we weren't allowed to talk about the roads because the roads weren't on the budget, or on the agenda. But in reality, the roads were on the agenda. You just didn't write roads next to the amendment.
Well,
No.
that's cause she did that in her report, but item A was budget amendments.
That was just the
Would-
amendment for
yeah.
the engineering.
So let's talk, can we talk about the amendment? What is the amendment for exactly?
Because we did not budget
I
the
understand that.
$20,000.
What's the 20,000 for? What are we
To get
doing
the
with the
bid
20,000?
process started for the road project.
All right.
I wanted to
So
get the
let's talk a
bid,
little bit about the bid process and what the bid process is for and
For
what
the
roads
engineer.
we're
Finish
bidding.
this motion and.
Yeah, we're at a different part in the meeting.
Yeah, I get it, but you didn't give us a chance to talk about it at the, in
That I
A.
apologize to you.
But we got to talk about it about C. So how come we can't go back and talk about A?
Cause A wasn't about the street project, it was just
Well, I don't wanna
about
talk
the
about the
engineering
street project, I wanna talk about the 20,000, what the 20,000 is for, and what we're doing with the 20,000, what's involved in the 20,000, where the 20,000 is going, why we're doing the 20,000, what that end result of the 20,000 is looking like it's gonna be. Can't we talk about that, cause that's the 20,000.
Well, the 20,000 is for the engineering of those roads.
And so what roads are we engineering?
It's for, I think Amy in her
Project.
report said it was for all 7, did you,
just
Amy?
for all 7,
Right.
and I wanted to get that started now, so that instead of after our budget is done April 1st, I wanted to get it done now, so that we don't lose the opportunity to have this company come out to our streets.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want them to be all booked up by the time we got messing around with it in April 1st. So, and he did start the process, so I'm hoping to continue with the process to do
So the
7.
plan is to pay 20 grand to an engineer to go and look at 7 roads, to see what level of repair is required on those 7 roads and get some sort of an RFQ going or something like that, or have we already done an RFQ?
So, let me just jump in. So, what the engineer does is, he's been engaged to develop a project scope, right? He's gonna say how wide it has to be, or how broad the scope of the road. I'll just let me.
Yeah, I just wanted to remind them.
then he will prepare what's called an invitation to bid, okay? And he will describe and say, this is the estimated quantity of roads we're gonna do, okay? And once that book is approved, and I don't know if that will come back to council, I suppose it may, but that will be issued to contractors that to do the type of road resurfacing that the village is interested in. These contractors generally bid what's called unit pricing. They don't give you a lump sum. They tell you, based on the estimated volume, this is the price that we will bid per square yard of resurfacing. So I just want to be clear so there's no hard feelings later on. Irrespective of whether we pick 7, 10, 20, 50 streets, that unit price is going to determine within budgeted amounts how much the village can do. So I understand your frustration, you want more details. That's the process that's going to be followed, but until we get that unit pricing, we really can't say how many roads will be done, because we can't control what they'll bid. And I will tell you, I'm not as familiar with this process that they're going through, but if you know the price of asphalt, it's an oil-based product, it fluctuates daily. And so it's really hard to predict whether it'll be 7, like I said, 5. But what I would suggest to you is really, if you want to engage and track this, please look at the agendas as they come through, because that project, I guarantee, will be coming back to council for award of bid. And this is the discussion the council will have. Okay, we have $100,000. Here's the unit price. The engineer says we can do this many streets. Hopefully we'll get great pricing, and I know Amy would love to do 7, but again, there are limitations, and until we go through the process. So I hope that gives you some idea of what's gonna happen. But that contract, I believe, has been signed, correct, Amy?
No, it has not.
It has not, but.
He's working on getting the contract to me.
No, I meant, we've awarded the $20,000 work.
Yeah, the last meeting,
So
yes.
so for everybody.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, so the good news is, the process is going forward, but I just can't, none of us can tell you it's gonna be 5 or 7. Even if we told you it was 7, it may not be 7, because until you get the bid numbers in, you just can't, you just don't know if it exceeds your budget or not.
What's the budget?
Well, one thing, excuse me a second, I'm sorry, Mr. Richter. But
I overstepped on that.
we got a motion.
Lure you into a conversation.
We've got a motion, we got a second to the motion.
Alright.
On the signs, which had nothing to do with the roads, not that they're not good questions, but we need to vote on this. And she's gonna take a roll call vote, because we take a roll call when we're spending money.
Adair?
Yes.
Belkey?
Yes.
Garza?
Yes.
Stirrup?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Cronin?
Yes.
Thank you for that.
I've got one little comment to make. We're getting a new police car outfitted, and there's graphics involved. And if we're talking about doing pictures or anything like that, this might be a way of doing a sign with vinyl. Because down at the apartments where I work, we wanna get a new sign, we can't get anybody to even come out and do anything. So it might behoove us, maybe we talk to the chief and see if this person can put together something for us, but.
Getting ready to call Wild Bill's sign shop. Understand he does all kinds of signs. So, but I will bring back a plan and costs for 4 entryway signs for the village. Appreciate council saying go ahead. It's a lot of work, and if we don't really want to do it, well, I guess we do it now, and I got a budget, so.
We need to set a date for the public hearing for the budget, for the 25-26 fiscal year budget. Can I get a motion on that?
Make a motion to set the public hearing date for approval of the 2025-2026 fiscal year budget for March 24th, 2025 at 7 o'clock p.m.
Support.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Motion's approved.
What was the date again?
March 24th.
Thank you.
7 p.m.
and, anybody can, you know, look at the budget, you know.
And you can come to budget meetings, they're public and they're posted.
Item E, to consider adoption of a resolution calling annual public hearing on special assessment roll for Armada Village Police Special Assessment District.
Okay, we
What?
gotta do this every year.
Yep, PA 33.
For PA 33. This is just to set the public hearing date. It's not to discuss what, this is not new. We've been doing this for years, just so everybody knows. But this is just to set the date. It's not to set, I mean, it's in the resolution. It just sets a date and what we expect to bring in from that millage. And then the public hearing will be on March 10th, because we have to do it before our budget, so.
I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution calling annual public hearing on special assessment roll for our Native Village Police Special Assessment District on March 10th, 2025 at 7 p.m.
Support.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Motion's approved. Upcoming agenda items. Anybody want to put something on the agenda at this time? Go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
I'm quickly with a motion.
Alright, I gotta bring forward the, water reliability study and the contingent wells, study, the next meeting, which is what, 10 February, I think, right?
Sounds right.
Okay, yeah. Full council's, approved it.
The well,
Water
the
reliability.
water reliability study and the contingent well study.
They are informative, so I would, once you get them, I would ask council to approve them.
What do you got, Joe?
I will bring information, everybody knows the issues we've had with Comcast, trying to get the
Franchise fees?
franchise fees and the peg fees paid to the studio, the support studio. It's money that's due to the studio, and municipalities don't understand when they get a check, oh, in the bank, it's mine. You want it? I put it in the bank, it's mine. And you can't, we just beat our heads for too long. So I'm going to bring a resolution to present a formal complaint to the MPSC.
Who does the
Is
complaint?
everybody gonna do that, that's in the
consortium.
consortium?
Because they'll all be informed, but the complaint itself will come from NEMCTV 6.
But does the council have any, I don't.
We'll inform you, I mean.
No, but you're gonna have council approve a resolution?
So that you're aware that that's what we're doing.
Okay.
I don't think,
Is this the ones that we have not received bills for?
Pardon me?
Is this what you're talking about, the ones that we haven't received the bills for?
You haven't to a point, because everybody stopped, because Comcast told them, oh, our numbers aren't accurate, those are old numbers.
Right, but what if we don't have a bill, we can't pay?
No, it's not you. Comcast needs to straighten this issue out. They need to, as much as we beg, count all the people I've talked to at Comcast, and now the warrant office is gone, I have nobody to talk to. And nobody say what's going on, how come we're not doing anything here? So Comcast used to have a representative that came to our monthly meetings, gave us those numbers. We did up the math and sent the bills out. Municipalities pay them, until Comcast says, well, you know, those numbers are really old, and they are. We billed the same amount for 10, 15 years. So, you know that more people are getting Comcast, there's more people online that, you know, even the product itself has changed and evolved. So you had, the pay channels, the, we order online, what's that called?
On demand.
Pay-per-view.
On demand, on demand.
Streaming?
No, where, you have Comcast service
So you wanna put this on the agenda for next meeting?
Yeah,
for the approval of, telling ANC you support you to go ahead and make the complaint.
okay, all right, okay, that makes sense, okay, all right,
Okay,
yeah, okay.
okay, any other citizen comments?
Can we ask to put on the agenda a discussion about streets and what your plan is for the future of laying out the streets and how to pay for them?
I don't know that we'll, you know, we do that through the budget process, but
But you need to have a discussion with us about how you plan on paying for these streets over the course of the years, where over the last 40 years, you haven't done nothing to the streets, or there's no fund for the streets, or anything like that.
excuse me,
Yep.
I certainly understand your frustration
Okay.
about the streets, but we replaced a lot of streets. It's too bad we didn't replace a lot more, but we did north and south Fulton, we did east and west, Maine, we've done Franklin, we've done, Barrows,
Lathrop.
First, Lathrop,
Simons.
and again, we need to do more, we understand that. Should I have them come to the budget meeting if they want?
We're not.
Well, I don't,
I'm not
I
sure.
just wanna know what is, how do you guys
We will have this,
plan
we will
or
have
schedule?
this,
It's through the budget.
we'll have this information probably within the next month, hopefully sooner. But we can't tell you when, and, certainly you're welcome to come to any meeting, but,
But to his point, the budget's a year by year,
Yep.
right? So that's not a plan, that's an event. Plan is a 10-year schedule. It indicates what roads are
Right now,
planned to be
we're-
replaced on what
right now for
There's a
roads,
plan.
we're working on
what lengths of roads.
2025. It'd be nice to have a 10-year schedule, but right now, we're working on 2025, either this 4 or 7, hopefully the 7.
There is a street
But
plan.
it's really not
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
we do have a
They
street
do have a
plan.
street
It's not really an option, you need to have a plan.
We do
We
have.
do
And
have
we'd
a-
like to see it.
You can come in and get a copy.
Okay,
Come in,
available.
we'll
can
get
we
your
stop
copy.
in after the meeting to get a copy? You have one
maybe
sitting on
you
your desk?
We're in the process of updating it, because we're adding the 5th year back on, you know, it rotates every year.
Alright, so this plan's never been
That's part of
discussed.
my budget.
That's not true.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
had meetings and discussed.
We have many
Yeah,
discussions.
open meetings.
We've had committees be a part of it with the engineering company, so it has been worked on over the years.
Amy and Ann have both been on that committee.
And those were open as well, and they were posted every time we met. So the public was welcome to come. Are we still?
Okay.
Are we on council comments?
Yes, are there any council
I
comments?
do.
Yes, Ann?
I'd just like to point out, I've heard the comment made that we bought a new police car, but we can't fix the streets. I'd just like
Wonder who made that.
to clarify to you. So the village has a program called the Salvage Title Inspection Program. We have certain officers that are qualified to go out and inspect vehicles. We collect a fee for that. That all goes into a special account. The money from that is what funded the police car, not your taxpayer dollars.
And that's how we bought the last 3 or 4 or
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
We've been very fortunate to have the SDI program.
And we also bought the car because the current vehicle we have is nickel and diming, but thousands at a time,
To get
costing
fixed.
us to maintain it.
Yeah.
The 140,000 mile one.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Ann. Are there any other council
Uh,
comments?
it's still winter time and people need to shovel their sidewalks. There's a lot of sidewalks around town that are not shoveled.
Is there a citation for that?
There's a letter
There's
that
an
goes
ordinance
out,
about
notice
it,
that goes
yeah.
out.
So if you're,
You can get a ticket.
You can.
if you know you've got an older neighbor that can't do it, it'd be great if you could just put one pathway on their front walk, that'd be great.
Steve does mine sometimes.
You're older than
You're
me.
older.
I'm the old neighbor. Are there any community events, coming up here?
None that I know of.
Well, if we don't have that, we have no closed session. Could I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8 o'clock.
Support. All in favor? Aye. Motion's adjourned.